Hello, Handler Helpers, and welcome to the Season of Love episode of Monster Cuisine. And I am joined here with Monster Handler Ben.
Hello.
What are we making today?
Some cake pops.
Ooh, I do love a good cake pop. You're gonna need 1 leftover dry cake or 1 cake mix box, 1 can of icing, and some sprinkles. All right, so the very first thing that you're gonna need to do is mix up that leftover dried cake. So we're gonna use a food processor to make this a little bit easier, but you don't have to do that. You can use your hands and some forks and just mix it all up together in a bowl if you'd like. All right, so we're just gonna stick our cake into the food processor here, and it fits very, very well.
I said, was that intentional?
It wasn't. It was a happy little accident.
No. We love happy little accidents in this kitchen.
Yes, we do. So I'm just going to...
You having a bit of trouble?
And I'm just gonna start pulsing this, and you're just gonna wanna mix this up until it's kind of like a breadcrumb consistency.
If you have any jamborees, please hide them. They don't need to see it.
No jamborees were harmed in the making of this video.
It is.
All right, it looks like the big chunks are out of there, so I'm just gonna take this off and put it right into our mixing bowl. All right.
Oh,
made a little bit of a mess, but that's okay as long as you clean it up after. So the next thing we're gonna do is add about 3/4 of a container of vanilla icing into our cake mix. So here you go, Monster Handler Ben. That's all
How
for
much
you.
Again? The whole thing?
3/4 of the can.
Okay, I'll eyeball it.
Yes. A little too much, that's okay. And now we're gonna wanna mix all that up until it's a nice kind of cohesive texture.
Good old mix.
Ooh, that smells delightful.
It does. Everyone in the comments, I want you to critique my technique.
So you're gonna want the consistency to be kind of sticky so that you can form it into the little dough balls. So you gotta make sure that you get all those little breadcrumb pieces all stuck together. So that consistency looks pretty perfect to me. You can see that it's pretty sticky, pretty solid. That's exactly what we're gonna need to make our little cake pops. Excellent job, Monster Handler Ben. Now, the next thing you're gonna wanna do is grab a tray or a plate and put some parchment paper on top just so that the cake pops don't stick to it. And all we're gonna do with our clean hands is grab a little bit of this cake, roll it up into a little ball, like that, and we're just gonna pop it onto our parchment paper lined plate. You're gonna wanna make all of them roughly the same size, but if they're a little bit off, that's okay too. All right, the last step that we have to do for part 1 of these cake pops is adding in our little cake pop stick. So you can use like a sucker stick, you can use popsicle sticks. We're using these little appetizer sampling forks because they're kind of the perfect size. And we're just gonna stick those into the cake pop. So here you go.
Right.
Just stick those in there.
We have some class.
Yeah, very classy. Last step that we have to do is put these in the fridge to chill for 2 hours before we can put the rest of the icing and the toppings on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. All right, so we have successfully cooled down our cake pops. We put them in the fridge for about 2 to 2.5 hours. You're just gonna wanna make sure that they're really firm so that when you put the icing and the sprinkles on, they don't fall apart.
Yeah.
So all we have left to do is decorate these beautiful cake pops. So I took just a milk chocolate bar and I melted it in the microwave for about 40 seconds so that we have this kind of nice chocolate consistency. So all we're gonna do with the melted chocolate is just dip our cake pops in there like so. And then just put some sprinkles on the top. Woo! Well, Monster Handler Ben, I guess that we have to share these with all of the other Monster Handlers at Big Blue Bubble.
Do we really have to though?
Yeah.